Hey, Josh here, and I'm going to review today Root Search, an anime OVA that I purchased at Anime North this year, Canadian convention if you're not familiar. I bought it on VHS for $1 as this movie was not translated onto DVD, and rightfully so. This is a pretty crappy movie. Prior to purchase, I did not know that this movie was featured on Anime News Network's Buried Garbage, but I can definitely see why, and was not naive to the fact that it was going to be crap, especially on the front. The picture that is should be on the screen right now. It says something deadly is on their minds. That is the actual cover of the VHS. And when you see a shit like that on the front, you just know it's going to be bad. Plus, the plotline in of itself is the most stereotypical sci-fi horror plotline you could imagine. I mean, what do you expect from a sci-fi horror plotline? Alright, we have a research center. Check. Okay, we have a distress signal coming from a ship. They don't understand. Check. Perhaps a mystifying part of space that's uncharted or restricted. Check. Alien life form aboard said ship. Check. One survivor aboard the ship. Check. It's just going through a checklist. And while it's not necessarily too bad, I mean, it really does hinder your enjoyment at some times. However, taken as schlocky horror entertainment, okay, it's still pretty bad. But being a huge fan of both sci-fi of this particular kind and horror, and the two mix them together is made a tempting offer. Earlier this year we got Dead Space, which is in a similar vein, but much better done in my opinion. Though the movie wasn't exactly all that great. But now we have Root Search, and unfortunately for me, it is quite painful to watch. The story revolves around, as well before what I said, but the Tolmecus Research Center hovering above planet Tolmecus, and researching a girl named Moira, whose psychic abilities are slowly increasing from an intermittent solar rays being emitted from the planet. Don't ask me how that works. And it's part of the whole bullshit science appeal, but I didn't mind that so much. And then, out of warp comes the Green Planet, a ship that merely crashes into them, and they go aboard only to find all its inhabitants slaughtered except one survivor. They take the survivor aboard, and, you guessed it, they all start to get picked off one by this alien menace. How original. From there, the story progresses much how you would think it would, with each character, the alien in this case, having the ability to read your mind and project nightmares into the crewmates. Not exactly original. In fact, you know, this is really almost a direct copy of Event Horizon, but again, besides the point, when you're looking for schlocky horror entertainment, you look for this type of thing almost. If it fits your particular niche, my niche being sci-fi horror of this brand, then you still give it a chance. However, I can't really recommend this to anyone but lovers of kind of schlocky entertainment. Though I guess if for $1 you could probably get your enjoyment of it either way. Anyway, the characters are poorly developed. You never really learn about anyone. The fact that they project nightmares from their past onto the present really doesn't work. I mean, this is only 45 minutes long. Granted, it does pace itself pretty nicely, but the end is a total clusterfuck, and it really tries to be much more than it is. There's some symbolic message behind it, supposedly relating to Adam and Eve, and, oh, is God good or bad, and just blatant 2001 A Space Odyssey references, which don't really make a whole lot of sense here. And just bizarre scenes. Like, there's one scene, from what I described to you of this movie. Does it really seem like to be a scene of two people running completely naked through a jungle with pink sparkly backgrounds? And it's not a dream? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what were you thinking? Anyway, what you really need to analyze this movie for, if you're looking for this type of schlocky horror entertainment, which is what you really need to base this on, is the alien cool? Is the action good? And, you know, is the animation decent? Alright, well, to start off, the alien? Actually not bad, I gotta admit. I mean, while it does turn into a really stupid tentacle monster near the end, and I don't care if I spoil this because this movie's not really good enough for me to avoid spoilers all that much, but the initial form of it is pretty cool. The fact that it can shapeshift is not all that interesting because it kind of obscures your view of this kind of neatly designed monster. While it looks kind of stupid in the Bigfoot meets ringworms way, as Anime News Network described it, and it's purple. But for what it is, it's not terrible, I gotta say. I've seen much worse. The fact that it's animated allows it to be a little more frightening than perhaps it would be in live action, because you can tell that if they had the same budget for live action, appropriately at least, then it would be shit. I mean, just outright. But for what it is, it's not terrible. The action itself, that is terrible, however. There is next to no action scenes, and what they are completely pointless. Character reactions are overly ridiculous and exactly what you'd expect. And the animation starts out okay, and then goes to shit near the end. And worst of all, going back to the story, this just ends on a complete idiotic cliffhanger. It's supposed to be a symbolic ending. I realize this. I'm not stupid, but it beats you over the head with it. And it's not a satisfying ending for this type of movie. At the very least, I don't particularly like Event Horizon, but making that comparison again, at least it knew what it was, and it ended in a maybe still a little preachy manner, but at least it ended. Whereas this just kind of stops. I can't really recommend this movie to anyone except schlocky horror lovers and anime lovers, but you really gotta... To find this, you'd need to search it out, and it's not worth it, guys. Find something better. There's not a whole lot of other horror anime, but there are certainly better ones. If you're looking for this type, I would specifically recommend Magnetic Rose, the first segment from Katsuhiro Otomo Presents the Memories film, which is genius. Music done by Yoko Kanno. Animation's fantastic. It's got a good plotline, good character development, and it's actually genuinely kind of creepy. And with the soundtrack to Madame Butterfly pasted in the background, it's, again, very nice. Otherwise, I can't recommend this. It's not good at all. More reviews on What I Bought Anime North coming up later. Look for them soon.